Episode 687 of the Two Dum Yinzers. This is the Super Bowl uh, episode, I guess, if you will. 2 days, just 2 days until Super Bowl 59, until the Philadelphia Eagles and the Kansas City Chiefs take on one another. The Chiefs going for three in a row, while Philadelphia is looking to pick up their second Super Bowl win in their fifth trip to the big game. Let's start today by saying good morning to the crew. What's up this morning, Finch? How you doing, brother?
Good morning. Feeling good. Having a good day so far. Just ready to chat with my buddies for a little while.
All right.
Hell
Mike,
yeah.
how about you, man? How you doing, dude?
Oh, I'm doing great, man. It's last show before Super Bowl Sunday. You got all the NFL awards last night. I'm fired up, baby.
Good. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to Jen on the board. Good morning.
Jen?
Good morning. Good morning. So here it is, guys. Just 3 days from now, the Super Bowl will be done for the year. It'll be Monday. We'll be talking about the big game. But as Mike said, a lot of things to talk about today. We do have the awards ceremony that went down last night. We're also going to be getting ready for the Super Bowl and talking a little Steelers scoop and more. So just hang out, guys. It is the Friday installment of the Two Dumb Yinzers. Guys, let's start with this. Do be sure to check out tonight at 9:30 right here on the Two Dumb Yinzers YouTube channel network. You can check out the Two Cranky Jagoffs at 9:30. Finch and Tim will be here to talk about all kind of stuff. You never know what's going to come out of these guys' head, but do go check them guys out tonight about 9:30. Finch, yeah,
Dude, man.
Finch, and what do you you guys are usually on for roughly about an hour and a half, give or take?
Yeah, we've been doing about an hour and a half. And what's funny is when you get to chatting with your friends, especially with somebody that maybe you don't see or talk to that often, time gets away from you. And there are times we'll be in the middle of chatting and I'll look at the clock, a little ticker on the screen will tell you how long you've been on. And I'm just like, I'll tell them right on the show. Dude, we've been on for like an hour and a half. No way. I'm like, yeah. He's like, dude, I could keep going. I'm like, yeah, but it's also, 11:30 at night almost. You know what I mean? I've got kids upstairs.
Yeah,
He's got kids at home. But yeah, it's a good time. We have fun. Like I said, we just kind of throw out what's on our mind. We look up a couple different things here and there. He's constantly sending me videos and stories.
Good.
This week, it's all been conspiracy theories about, the NFL being rigged. So I think that's going to be a big topic of discussion tonight. So that would be a good one for Feel the Steel and Ron Navy and those guys if you want to join in. John, I know John, he likes to talk about the NFL being rigged a lot. So you guys, please join us tonight. We'll be on.
And I do want to say good morning to Ron as well. Ron Navy on the board. Speaking of the devil, yeah, guys, a lot of things go on over on the Two Cranky Jagoffs every Friday night, 9:30. Do check them out every week. Every week, I certainly do. I listen to them. I enjoy it. They have a lot of cool things to talk about. One thing that they talked about last week was the Chicago Bears and the Super Bowl Shuffle. And I went after that episode, Finch, and I listened to the Super Bowl Shuffle probably for the first time since the 80s. Man, can you believe that was what we all thought was the most awesome thing in the world when we were kids?
That was it. I never thought it was awesome, not once. But I'm a little bit younger. You know what I mean? If I'd have been around in '85, I was like 2 whenever that was made. So that's different. But still, it's bad. It's terrible.
The singing was bad. The dancing was bad. The choreography, everything was
horrendous.
Bad. And they shouldn't have let the players write their lyrics, is what I thought. I thought it was that just made
they
it 10 times worse. They
shouldn't have let the players make the song. They shouldn't have made the song. I understand it was a giant, publicity stunt and kind of a first of its time thing. You've seen players for different teams do TV stunts and stuff since. I specifically remember one with Kevin Green. If it's all right if I take a moment.
Yeah, please.
You remember the legendary Kevin Green, who had, I think, 4 really great seasons with the Steelers. He did right before the Super Bowl with against the Cowboys, Super Bowl 30. He showed up on Jay Leno's Tonight Show.
Yes.
And it wasn't an interview. He just showed up as part of a skit. Like, Jay was talking and like his mic kept cutting out and he looks over. He's like, what's going on? And there's Kevin Green standing on the mic cable, like eating a donut. You know what I mean? And they brought him out and it's Kevin Green from the Steelers. Yada, 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 blah, blah, blah. So I can remember tons of stunts and stuff happening, but that Super Bowl Shuffle was like the first big one that I can remember seeing that was like that took advantage of that
It was
generation
almost
of the music video and pop culture TV.
it was almost the equivalent of Joe Namath predicting the Super Bowl. It had arrogance to it because it
A
was
lot of
made prior to the
arrogance.
Super Bowl, and it was almost that decade's version of what Joe Montana did in the late '60s. But as I said, it was
Namath.
real bad. I didn't realize that it was that bad.
Imagine had they lost
And
that game.
as I said, I think that they should the players right because it seems like some of these guys weren't that weren't. But at the end of the day, you go back and you watch it, and it's just the way their uniforms fit. You know what I mean? It was just a whole different time, a whole different era. Let's say good morning to everybody on the board. Over enthusiastic mod Caleb, he says we are no longer riding with Russell Wilson. Dangerous sandwich had too much mustard. Questions were answered. Art the second comes to dessert for new QB. We'll get into that shortly. Also, Ron says not a conspiracy theory. FBI investigations backing up rigging in sports to include NFL. I think that they should. And finally, P says DEI MVP in 2025 is so ironic. So a lot of things to go over today, guys. A lot of things again. And hello, Color Hoss. What's up, my man? Congratulations to you. Yesterday on the show, he made his predictions. Finch, he is going up head to head against Derpy for picks this week. And it's too bad Derpy wasn't here because I was gonna try to amend, or I don't know if that's even the word. I was gonna adjust this a little bit because I don't know. I was thinking, Mike, what if they kind of go head to head? In other words, Derpy won, but if Kellerhost wins, maybe Kellerhost should win, and Derpy shouldn't win.
Ooh, yeah, I like that one.
Did Derpy won the regular season though, right?
He won the regular season against Mike.
Yeah, so he should at least be awarded.
We did
for
it
that,
because on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever it was, you and Mike went head to head,
and I won.
And
for Kellerhost
gave Kellerhost and Jen the opportunity, and now Kellerhost is going up against Derpy, and I'm just wondering, like I said, or maybe have like a deal or no deal or something set up for Derpy, like if he loses, we get to spackle his ass crack or something. You know what I mean? Something.
No thanks.
Why is
he hasn't really faced
Why's it always?
He hasn't had the he hasn't really had the if I lose, something bad happens. It's all kind of been flowers and roses for Derpy along the way. So again, I kind of wish he was here today. We could talk about a few of these things, but nonetheless, Derpy and Kellerhost head to head Sunday night, 6:30, when the Philadelphia Eagles take on the Kansas City Chiefs in Super Bowl 59. Of course, the Chiefs going for 3 in a row. Good morning, Kellerhost. Jen says, rub it in. P says, if Derpy had wheels, he'd be a bicycle. Derpy won. So I don't know. I'm in favor of kind of doing something like a deal or no deal for Derpy. And maybe, listen, like, whatever he wins, we'll offer to add more on it. I don't know. I'd like to put him in a situation where he could, I don't want to say so he could lose, but
you just want to make,
make
Derpy suffer, don't you?
Yes. Yeah. I want to make him suffer a little bit. Good morning to Phil Steele on the board. What's up, my man? So that's kind of where I was at, but he ain't here, so we'll see. Maybe I'll make an executive order later on and sign it when he's not around.
I kind of like that. We can do that too. I'm down for anything to make Derpy squirm. I am down for it.
Sounds like a good time.
Snoop Dogg there in his Steeler uniform. Last night at the award ceremony, Snoop Dogg shows up in his Pittsburgh Steeler uniform. I thought that was kind of interesting. Also, Bill Belichick there with his great granddaughter, or his AKA his girlfriend. It seemed like a good time down there. But you know what the thing is about this? I hit it right on the head with this MVP. I knew for sure that Josh Allen was going to win. Josh Allen did win the MVP, and Mike Barkley did win the Offensive Player of the Year. That's kind of how I suspected it was going to go down. In the award ceremony also. And if there's any surprise, Jaden Daniels does win the Rookie of the Year. I'm sure you guys could talk about that tonight on the Two Cranky Jagoffs.
I saw that.
Tim will be, Jared Verse wins the Defensive Rookie of the Year. Big year out of the Los Angeles Rams. Comeback Player of the Year, Joe Burrow, the Comeback Player of the Year.
Isn't that twice now he's won that award?
I'm not sure. I am not sure. I do know that Kevin O'Connell, he did win the coach of the year, the coach for the Vikings. Ben Johnson won the assistant coach of the year. Walter Payton man of the year. Eric Armstead from Jacksonville. And then also the Hall of Fame, the Hall of Famers were named for the class of 2025. Cornerback Eric Allen. Jared Allen. This is a big year for the Allens.
Big year.
Two Allens going into the Pro Bowl, one Allen winning the MVP. Jared Allen, of course, the defensive end for the Minnesota Vikings for a long time. Antonio Gates and Shannon's older brother Sterling. He was my first favorite Sharp. He was already gone, I think, pretty much out of the league by the time Shannon got in.
Yeah.
But he was the Sharp that I grew up with over in Green Bay. So congratulations to those four guys again: Eric Allen, Jared Allen, Antonio Gates, and Sterling Sharp, all going to the Hall of Fame this year. I again, I mean, it's all a matter of opinion. I think I could figure some people out that could have been there before Eric Allen, possibly. And, I get to watch these guys in their prime. I think there was two Steelers that could have been ahead of Eric Allen, to be honest with you. But that is the class, everybody. Eric Allen, Jared Allen.
I am honestly shocked
Sterling
that
Sharp.
Terrell Suggs and Eli Manning didn't get in. I thought for sure Suggs and Manning were going to be locks.
I thought Luke Kuechly was going to be a lock.
Yeah,
And
he's
like,
good
like
too.
Ron saying, it's the smallest class in history. And when I saw the list, I kept reading the article expecting more and more people to pop up on the list. But it's the smallest class in history. But like you said, like Terrell Suggs, Eli for like the 2 Super Bowls, Luke Kuechly.
Reggie Wayne, really fantastic player, obviously. Torrey Holt, another really great player. It is what it is, dude.
They're all great. That's the thing. You just can't.
They're all great.
Decide.
They're all deserving in one way or another.
And then finally, the one I wanted to wait till the very end to talk about here. Roger just asked the question. The defensive player of the year by a landslide was Patrick Surtain. He had 26 first place votes ahead of Hendrickson from Cincinnati, number 3, Myles Garrett, and coming in 4th place was TJ Watt. He had 114 votes overall. However, it was not, or points overall. It was not enough to get that defensive player of the year. Patrick Surtain, the guy that we was talking about wanting last off season, like out in Denver. He was the Bronco we didn't get.
Yeah, he was Bronco we didn't get. He was someone like, if they were like selling the farm like we all thought and hoped they would have, he would have been the guy. Oh God, if we could have got him, would have been amazing, but alas not. But I think it's deserving. I'm glad it didn't go to like someone who just had the most sacks. But watching Surtain versus what George Pickens early year, in the way George Pickens manhandled him, if penalties weren't called on the offensive line, George would have ate him alive. That's one of the reasons why I kind of want to keep George. He made the defensive player of the year look like an ordinary cornerback, but I think Surtain was well deserving because outside of George Pickens, he's the only guy who did well against him. So good job there. And I'm glad it just didn't go to someone who had the most sacks. It's no longer the most sack award. You get that, you're automatically defensive player of the year. I don't think Myles was deserving this year. TJ was not deserving this year. The only one, I just said it, he had the most sacks, Trey Hendricks, but he was a very disruptive force all season long. Those are the two that I would have been happy if either one, but I'm really happy Surtain won. Let's spread it around the defense, not just a defensive lineman or an outside linebacker.
Well, let me ask you this, Mike. Say TJ Watt had a great season. Let me tell you, let's say he had as many sacks as Hendrickson had, but the defense did what it does sometimes, the Pittsburgh defense, and lets up, a lot of significant points. And, again, just because of the defense, they don't win a lot of games. If that was TJ Watt and Watt had all the sacks, but the defense didn't do what they were supposed to the way that the Bengals didn't do a great job, that would be held against Watt because the defense let up a lot of points and the defense, just didn't win enough games for the offense. Wouldn't we be looking at it a different way if it was Watt opposed to Hendrickson in that position?
But we would have the unique experience of like watching Watt up close and see, okay, how did he play every game in, game out? Was he doing his part, and was it the other 10 around him letting him go? And that's kind of how it felt like with Trey Hendrickson for the most part. Like he did his job. It was like everyone else around him wasn't doing his job. I think that's why he finished so
What
high.
was Surtain's? Mike, could you pull up if you get a minute Patrick Surtain's season, what he did interception wise, tackle wise, things like that? And I'll get caught up on the board while you're doing that. P says if Derpy had he'd be a bicycle. Derpy won. Let's see. Okay, Keller Haas said my boy Ben is also good at trivia. Is good at trivia. You know what? Maybe, just maybe, we're gonna need somebody to spackle Derpy's ass whenever he loses this bet. So how is Ben at spackle?
He
gets to spackle his ass cracker. Over enthusiastic mod Caleb, he says start, bench, and cut for lunch, grub, soup, salad, and sandwich. Keller Haas, if we want to do another round of that with him and Derp. Ron says he's not going to watch refs decide this game. P says Snoop looking like a cracked out WNBA player. Dang minstrel show. Phil the Steel says if Keller Haas wins, send him peaches in a half of, you know what, in a half fanny. Yes, maybe. Let's see. Jen says Finch, my grown daughter was visiting and heard the alarm beep and said, I can change that for you, Mom. I could send her to Derpy's house. Please, Jen.
Someone to go to Derpy's house for the love of God.
Keller Haas says, I'll jump on that grenade for the squad. Ron said smallest Hall of Fame inductees in history. I was going to say that seems like a very low amount of people getting in. Roger us to the defensive player of the year. P says Sterling would have made it on the ballot if he hadn't broken his neck. He did have that unfortunate injury. Tim, did you catch Tim? He said Jeff. Also,
Tim.
Jen was saying Patrick Surtain won. George Pickens is a head case. I'm going to get into George here in a couple minutes, Tim. P said Eli in 2 Flacco seasons. He'll probably get in there eventually. Eli in 2 Flacco seasons. You know what, guys? I just saw. What did I see? James Harrison saying that the Steelers should trade Pickens. Of course, James Harrison has no say-so in what goes on in the front office. Guys, how far are the Steelers from, guys in the past, Martavius Bryant. There's a list. There's a list of wide receivers that kind of came and went here that, were pains in the asses. How long, especially being on the ice that I feel that, listen, I don't think his job's on the line, but he is on thin ice. Mike Tomlin, just the way things are going, how much is he going to put up with moving forward, especially this coming year, where I think there's a lot on the table as far as Mike Tomlin goes? Again, do I think he's going to get canned after this year? I don't at all. But I think that something's got to change in Pittsburgh and in the locker room and with this personnel. Mike, do you think what do you think the future holds for Pickens? And is he going to be looking for his 5th year option anytime? Is this his 3rd year or what year?
No, this is his going into his 4th year. And 2nd round picks, I don't think he will have the 5th year option.
Oh, he was a second round pick. That's right.
He was 2nd round.
That's right.
Like his head caseness, that's why he kind of fell out of the 1st round. That's why he was available to teams in the 2nd rounds, because the production and like the potential is there to be a first, but can he keep it together? And we're seeing like when things start to not go George's way, he gets the boo-boo face going. He starts acting out on the sidelines, starts, acting out online. And, Steelers, we're okay with a little bit of AB's antics because he was out there producing at a high level, being, more or less talked about.
Chase Claypool, another one.
Yeah, well, they got rid of him quick.
That's what I'm saying. Where we at?
I think he's at that. Like he's at that Chase Claypool level. Like you keep not being able to keep yourself in line. You're going to be out of here sooner than later. You're not going to get your contract extension here. But I don't see them trading him this offseason. I see them playing it out. If he can keep his head together, they'll reward him with that contract. George is playing for that big money contract this year, and if he can keep his head right, I think they'll reward him. If not, they can let him walk in free agency, let him sign somewhere else and get a compensatory pick and hopefully get a 3rd round for him.
Mike,
he's a talent, but he's
such a double-edged sword because he could be your hero or he could be the one that kills your game in just a matter of a second, either way. And you have to decide, are we good enough to deal with that? Or is there any way to control this guy? It's going to be crazy to watch moving forward because again, here we are with a couple stars that are The running back could possibly be on his way out here this year, which I got a little, not a scoop, but some word on that. Also, again, George Pickens. I mean, that's is basically our whole offense. You take those two guys from our offense, look back at what we had last year. I mean, that was basically it. Let me get in a couple of these messages here. I'm seeing a couple. Let's see. P says 2 veteran free agent former number 1 receivers chasing a ring and a quarterback that can't see down the field and over the offensive line. Roger says if we're holding against players for showing emotion on the sideline, then we shouldn't have an NFL. Tim said you guys are about 5 or 6 years from being the team that I agree that you once were, and that's the problem, Tim. People they don't want to accept that.
We are mired in mediocrity.
Kind of accept that
because of that.
Let's see. Tallman lets that locker room do and say whatever they want. I agree. It's been going on for a long time. Being 500 or one and done isn't how you keep a coach. You need a complete overhaul. Early out the gate, right after the getting eliminated, we were heavy on that on the show. We need a complete overhaul, and I think it would have just got old if I would have continued to say that all for the next 5 months. But ultimately, that's what I do think. I think that we got to take an L here. We got to take in my opinion, we got to have a losing season. We got to have a year where we can kind of regroup and get a better draft pick. And listen, it's going to be a long road. It really is. We're not right there, and maybe that's what we'll do. If Justin Fields starts this year, which is more than likely going to happen, and he doesn't do better than Russell Wilson, maybe that's when we'll spack.
There we go. Because that Justin Fields is his guy. Derpy's all about wherever you go to college, not how you produce it in the pros. He's all about where you went to college. So that's fair right there. And Roger Murray, I don't have problems with players showing emotions, but when those emotions become detrimental to the team and to your performance, that's when it becomes a problem. Like you could like if you blow up on the sideline, but you go out there the next series and you go off, hell yeah, do that. I'm okay with that.
Odell Beckham
just isn't happening.
Yeah, but if you go out there and you're going off on the sidelines and you go out your next series, you're loafing around.
I think what we're talking about, guys. I think what we're talking about here is 2 seasons ago when Deontay Johnson was walking off the field as a fumble is bouncing around in front. You can't let that kind of stuff happen. I mean, everybody recalls that. There was a ball that was fumbled by Jalen Warren. It was bouncing around. Deontay Johnson was so in his own head and pissed about something. He continued to walk off the field right past the fumble. I think that's where, those are the kind of things that just can't happen. You can't have those things happen on your football team, especially as a professional football team. Those are high school antics, and usually you get them guys weeded out by then. Tim also says you have to draft that diamond in her. Absolutely, my friend. I couldn't agree more. And let me start over. You guys have to draft that diamond in the rough quarterback and a coach who can control the locker room. So yes, you're going to have to eat crap for a while. I agree, Tim, and it's unfortunate, but I think that's what people don't want to accept.
It's the Bears philosophy.
People were willing. Well, you know what? People were willing to continue to go 10-7 and be mediocre, rather than take a losing season to help gain a little bit of ground. I mean, that's something that we learned on the board. Just one losing season after 18 years. We can take that. I mean, come on, we're getting the same results anyway. We're still not doing anything. We're still not getting anywhere in the playoffs. And we're certainly ain't winning any gold at the end of the year. Over enthusiastic Maud Caleb says Tomlin lost the locker room in the late 2010s. Art the Deuce has been content with 9 and 8 Super Bowl winners. P says Travis Kelce. And another thing, guys, we didn't mention James Harrison suggesting that the Steelers should trade Pickens. Another thing I'm seeing, guys, it was Jerry Dulac, I do believe, made the was it Dulac? I believe it was Dulac. He said that now Najee, it's looking like the chances of him staying a Steeler are looking better for whatever reason. I'm not sure. I didn't read his article, but guys, I don't think there's any chance that Najee Harris is on the Steelers next year. Do you?
I don't, unless they get a nice little contract workout for him, but I don't see it. Usually when a team doesn't give you the 5-year option, that's them saying, hey, we want to see you do something out there before we offer you a bigger contract. And he got his 1,000-yard season, but it wasn't, nothing more than that. And the way the offense is playing, I can see him wanting to maybe go somewhere else. And the Steelers going, you know what, we're going to go elsewhere too. I put it at very minimal that he's going to be back here. Nothing gave me, any confidence that he would be back. And
then finally, over the past 24 hours, Steelers, are they done? Or is the Russell Wilson ride over, as over enthusiastic Maud Caleb said earlier? Guys, is that it for Russell Wilson? I'm seeing it starting to look more and more bleak every day. A couple headlines right here in the papers here in Pittsburgh yesterday saying things along the line of we're done with Russell Wilson. Russell Wilson is done here, give or take, things like this. Um, any chance Russell Wilson is back in a Steeler uniform next year, Mike?
Yeah.
Finch. Let me start with Finch. Sorry.
I think it's about a 0 to 5% chance. It's very low. I don't see the Steelers making a big offer to him. I see him going elsewhere. I might see him. It wouldn't shock me to see him go to Pete Carroll with the Raiders now, or elsewhere.
Could you imagine a Russell Wilson, Najee Harris, Pete Carroll combo down in Las Vegas?
That would be something. It wouldn't completely shock me. It's not out of the realm of possibility. So I think he is looking for, and I've been saying all year, he's been looking for one more contract, one more 4-year deal or whatever to make his last hurrah. And the Steelers are not going to give that to him. So I doubt he stays here unless he takes a 1-year deal for a mediocre amount of money. But with Justin Fields there, who I think we're better off just going with Fields.
Now, let me go to, let me answer. Let's go to Tim's next comment. He said, Fields is not the answer. If you put your faith in Fields, Boswell will be your most explosive offensive player. I listen, I agree. Ultimately, I agree with Tim. And ultimately, I think that Fields is going to be another kick the can down the road player. As I said, there was a group of guys between, Terry Bradshaw and Ben Roethlisberger. You're going to see us go through some quarterbacks, and that is what it is. That's the nature of the league. It's very difficult to be an elite quarterback. As Tim mentioned on the board, you kind of have to find that diamond in the rough. Nobody's seen Tom Brady being the GOAT coming out in the 6th round. Nobody's seen Patrick Mahomes being what he was. Otherwise, he would have got drafted sooner. So again, it's such a hard thing to get that guy. There's only so many of them that live on this planet. I don't know what this was all about, but there's literally about 5 of these guys that exist at once. And right now we don't have it. And again, do you want to continue to try to get the best that you can out of a guy like Fields, knowing that it's going to yield you roughly 9, 10, 11 wins? Or do you want to eventually start? And I hate to say throw a season away because it just sounds
for
so
2
shitty,
seasons in a rebuild. It's good to have a guy like Fields. I mean, he does have experience. He does understand the game of football.
Is he the perfect guy for right now?
For one season, or maybe I would say 2 seasons, because the quarterback draft is not good this year in a draft. However, the following year there might be a much better selection overall. We might not be able to draft the highest, best quarterback 2 years from now, but we could definitely still get a quality quarterback in the top round in 2 seasons. So if we keep Justin Fields around for 2 more seasons, have him be that sort of tutoring guide to help the next guy along for a year, that Justin will be good for that. He can offer that in a good way, the way that a Tommy Maddox worked with Ben Roethlisberger. That's what I think is the best ideal situation right now, because I don't think Fields is going to cost us a heck of a lot of money.
The thing about Tommy Maddox, listen, guys, people say this and they're like, let's do Fields. Fields got to play. Fields is so athletic. Fields could do this. He could do everything. But you know what? I would rather have Tommy Maddox as my quarterback.
I agree.
Tommy Maddox, he would put up 280, 300 yards a game. He could sling the ball around. He moved like molasses, but if he did what he was supposed to do as a quarterback, stand in the pocket, the guy could, get some things done. And you've seen that when he played all the way up until he got paralyzed against Tennessee. He was very productive. Was he a Ben? No. Was he a Manning? No. But, at the end of the day, for what it is and where we're at, I mean, come on. I would rather have that than what we do have going on.
Tim is busting Justin Fields' balls on the board. And Tim, I agree with him that Justin is not the answer and whatnot, because, he was with the Bears and Tim follows the Bears. But, we're not looking for Justin to be that franchise QB, Tim. We're looking for Justin to be the filler until we can get a franchise QB in 2 years, or hope to. So that's what Fields' role is. And once again, we can get him for a little bit less than Russell Wilson or getting somebody else in a free agent, or not sticking with our third guy, that whatever the hell his name is, Luke or whatever his name is. But that's the goal, Tim. I'm not saying that Justin's the answer. I'm saying that he's filling in the gap right now for a team that hopefully only wins 6 or 7 games next year and gets a good draft pick the following year.
And looking at the career stats of Tommy Maddox and Justin Fields, they're the same quarterback. Tommy Maddox threw for 8,000 yards, 48 touchdowns, 54 picks. Justin Fields is throwing for 700 yards, 45 touchdowns, 31 picks. They're the same guy. One can just run more.
Yeah.
So, you're going to get
Tommy
the
also
same
had
value.
the bus lined up behind him.
He
So
did too.
he
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
a better team
And-
around him than the Bears did those
And
years.
like someone said yesterday,
Yeah.
his last year starting in Chicago, he had DJ Moore, who's a really productive receiver,
Yeah.
had him have his best year. That last half of the season where Fields was starting, he played well, but I think that was his ceiling. He's not going to, I don't think he's going to
I
any
agree.
better than that.
No, I agree.
He was still up and down, but he's that perfect quarterback to where if you want to lose, but still be competitive, he's your guy. That's who I want as my quarterback, someone that can win me a few games, but also lose me a lot of games. So
He's
I
the
can
caulk
get
in the tile. He's just going to keep us the gap together
Yeah.
until we can get
Yeah,
that
so,
guy. And that's
so
what
I can
we
get
need
my
right
pick.
now.
Yeah, and he's that quarterback. Unless you want to go out and get someone who completely sucks, go out get a Daniel Jones and then tank and lose 3 games till you're assured a top 1, 2, or 3 pick, then you would go that route. But if you
I
want
don't know why, but I've always liked Daniel Jones for some reason. I always thought he had real potential.
he looks like a quarter. He looks like the prototypical NFL.
I don't know. Maybe he wouldn't be the worst. Maybe he could be our backup this year in Pittsburgh, and
or like
get
a Mac.
game in and-
Well,
he could be the next Tommy Maddox.
Run a Justin Fields and a Mac Jones and go win yourself 5 games to get a good
Well, here's
pick.
the thing. At the end of the day, if Russell Wilson is out going somewhere, that's going to be the case. We're going to be looking for another guy to be as our number 2. Let's get caught up. I do know that I want to catch up on Tim so people know what we're talking about. But let me get Roger here first. He says, Russ, let's see. No, that's not it. I'm going to get on P. P is first here. Should have let Tallman trade up for Hurts while Ben was obviously declining. You know what? I still don't think that Jalen Hurts is a great quarterback. I mean, at the end of the day, they have more rushing yards than they have passing yards this season. And when he plays, the guy's a beast. Don't get me wrong. He's kind of a physical specimen. He can kind of run your ass over any given play like a linebacker. But at the end of the day, he's not my ideal quarterback. He's very good. Don't get me wrong. And maybe I sound stupid by saying it, but at the end of the day, I want someone a little bit more quarterbacky. And he's just not. Don't get me. He's winning. He's going to the Super Bowl. There's a lot great to say about him, but for me personally, I'm just not a huge Jalen Hurts guy. If I get a athletic quarterback, I want somebody. I don't know, somebody that's a little bit more quarterbacky.
The advanced version of Justin Fields. He can read the defense. He can make all the throws, but he doesn't seem as consistent for it. He throws a decent amount of. He cut his picks down, but you just look at his stats. I'm looking at them. They're not that eye-popping impressive, but you roll everything together, his passing yards, his rushing yards, that's what you would expect out of a Justin Fields. He's what people think Justin Fields should be. Jalen, the passing isn't the greatest when you watch it on film, but he's still completing 68% of his passes this year. But it's not pretty when you watch him play, but he gets results. He's like the advanced version of Justin Fields and Kenny Pickett. It's not pretty, but he gets it done, and he gets it done consistently without the amount of turnovers that those guys have.
And he's going to have a big game this weekend. He's going to win the Super Bowl, dude. I'm telling you.
Let's get back to some of these messages. Tim says, remember, it's still the Raiders. They can have Jesus can still blow it. Mark Davis can promote but not win. Also, Roger says Russ needs to face the fact that he's a backup caliber quarterback at this point in his career. Tim says he don't understand the game. He still can't read defense or look. Those are the things that concern me. The things between the ears for Justin Fields are the things that really concern me. Tim says he can offer looking foolish if you need a comeback. Then choked horribly against Green Bay the last game. I'm very disappointed with Justin Fields. Ron Navy says doesn't make a difference what QB they get, even Hurts, because Hurts wouldn't have turned out the same because the Steelers can't develop QBs. Arians did develop Big Ben. Tim says Jones would be better in Pittsburgh. Phyllis still says Steelers need a new coaching system, period. P says Jones looked like a bum. And Jen says my bet is if they sign the Fields, the backup will be Marcus Mariota. He's the closest to Fields, and he has ties with Arthur Smith. Yeah, let's keep bringing them former Falcons in. Let's see how well that worked for us. And Jesus was like 5'2" in sandals, P says. So there you go, guys. A little bit of Steelers scoop today going into the Super Bowl weekend. It's a Super Bowl Friday, the 59th of the series. Guys, also announced last night the Steelers will be playing the Packers in Ireland next season. That'll be one of their one of their games. Steelers at Packers. It's going to be a 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time start. So I think everybody will be up at 9:30 that day to watch their Steelers. But guys, I don't particularly care about these games that they play overseas or in Mexico, things like this. It doesn't do anything for me. I'm pretty, I'm routine. I want my Steelers on at 1:00. I get up, I read the paper, I drink my coffee, I eat, and then the game is on. You guys into this? Is it something that you guys get excited about, this game in Ireland, or can you do without?
I can do without because of the time difference. I don't want to wake up that fucking early on a Sunday. No, I don't want to do it, but I will be there. I'll be watching it because I think it's kind of cool, and I think it's going to be a huge turnout because Dan Rooney, the ambassador to Ireland, the Rooney family coming from Ireland. Steelers have a big presence in Ireland. I assume that atmosphere is going to be off the charts there. So I'll watch it for that, but I only watch these international games if my team's involved. All last season, there's 3 or 4 games. I didn't watch a single one of them overseas. So no, I'm only going to watch because the Steelers are involved. If they weren't involved, I wouldn't bother with it.
Croke Park. It's going to be at Croke Park, this place in Ireland, the stadium that the Steelers will be playing the Packers. Again, they do get their week 4. It's a week 4 Ireland game. Steelers versus Packers, 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time at Croke Park. Jen says, I agree. I don't like it, but I would bet on it. Also, Yinzer Joe, what's up, brother? He says, why don't we just bring in Ryan Tannehill to make the coaches happy? Different ingredients, same results. So when it all fails again, it's all the quarterback's fault again. Tim says he'll be rooting for Pittsburgh that day.
He hates the Packers.
Maybe
just like Jen.
The Ireland game.
I think Jen's going to be rooting for the Packers that game.
Nobody, yeah. Right.
Oh my God, start a war.
Yes, I am.
Pieces. I would think Fields could afford to buy a few parking lots in Jacksonville. You know what? Maybe did I miss one here?
Yeah, Tim
I think
said.
Tim.
Okay, that's what it was. Tim said Fields will be parking cars in Jacksonville in 2 years, and that was the response. Let's see. Also, Tim says this. He says, No, I hate overseas games, but just to see Love show everyone he's a mediocre, overrated crap bag, I will watch it. P says the UK has a Brown fan club. They love sad. Wow, a Browns fan
sadness. Well,
wow.
They are depressed over on
Can you
that
imagine?
island, so that makes sense for the UK. Yeah, I'm not a big Jordan Love fan either. Like, he will have a game or two of, wow, you can see the potential, why people love him. Then you watch other games like, what are you doing, bro? Yeah. It's never big Jordan Love fan.
Guys, Sunday at 6:30 in New Orleans. Super Bowl goes down. Super Bowl 59. The Kansas City are 1.5 point favorites. 48.5 points on the over or under. $7 to $8 million for a 30-second spot commercial.
Wowzers.
$7 to $8 million. I remember a few years back, probably, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago. Remember it was like $1 million, $1 million. And you sat there and you went, oh my God, $1 million is what people's paying. Guys, it's up to $7 to $8 million for 30 seconds. That's insane. But you know what? At the end of the day, it yields results. You get Doritos, does a handful of these commercials. Who doesn't buy Doritos? You're going to see it. You're going to go out and get Doritos. So good for them. End of the day, though, guys, $7 to $8 million for a 30-second commercial. Somebody's raking in the big bucks for the Super Bowl, guys. I'm finally gonna make my prediction known. I really hate both of these teams, and I hate them with a passion. I really do. And
he has a fascist hate for them.
It was taking me I have a fascist hate for these guys. But the only thing that keeps me from taking a pick is I don't like either of them at all. I would rather die than see either one of these teams win. But guys, today I'm going to make it official. I'm going to make my pick. I think the Philadelphia Eagles will win. That's my pick. In the over and under is 48.5. But I think there's going to be more. I think it's definitely going to be over on that.
I think so too.
And I think the Eagles end up winning by 8 points, give or take. I think it's going to come down to the end where it's going to look like Kansas City's ready to drive and tie and be one of those kind of games. But I think Philadelphia comes up with a big turnover at the end of the game where Kansas City usually gets the call I think that this one's going to be different. Philadelphia wins this game by roughly 8 points. It's going to be over on the over-under. My question to you guys, Finch, who's going to be the MVP? And again, it's you can't, you don't know the team, you don't know which player, but who do you get? You got a feeling this week? Who's going to
I
be
think
the MVP
Saquon's going to
of
go
Super Bowl
nuts.
59?
I really do. I think Jalen's going to have a good game. I think Saquon's going to go balls to the wall. I think he's going to have a couple of touchdowns. I think he is going to win the game for this team, and I think that he will be the MVP.
Mike, what about you, man? Who are you thinking for the MVP this week?
Guys, I got to step away for a second. I'll be right back.
No, you're good. The obvious answers are, like Saquon, Travis, Patrick Mahomes. I think it.
Yeah, but what's your
my pick? I'm going to go a little off board here. I'm going to go way off board. I'm going to go AJ Brown.
I'd like to see an
I
AJ
think,
Brown MVP.
Like if they win, I think he will be the MVP. But I think the Chiefs are going to win, so I'm going to go with Chris Jones. Big D tackle. I think he's going to have a big game. I think they're going to be able to contain Saquon. I think they're going to sell out to contain Saquon, and they're going to funnel him, try to keep him up into the middle, and Chris Jones is going to have a monster game.
And I think that's what makes this game so intriguing is the fact that they both have such good defenses and they both got pretty damn good offenses. At the end of the day, Kansas City never scored much over 30 all season, which, you can look at that and you can say, well, that's not a great season. But at the end of the day, combined with what they do on defense, they're good enough. They have Patrick Mahomes who can make a play on any given play. You have Travis Kelce who's going to make his plays, Pacheco who runs like a madman. So, I mean, they have a lot of things going for them. Like, I love the matchup aspect of this game. Again, I hate both teams. I hate both cities. I hate both fan bases. But at the end of the day, when you look at it, this is going to be a good football game. Again, two great defenses. I'm not sure what they are, but I think they're somewhere right around 1 and 2. And then beyond that, the offenses, again, can both do a lot of damage. I hate these teams, but I can see myself and a lot of people really getting into the Super Bowl and it ended up finishing a really great game.
Because I'm looking at right now, Philly is 8th in run defense, 104 yards a game. Kansas City's 9th, 106 yards per game, giving up. So I look for KC to definitely sell it to stop Saquon. They're the number 2 rushing team in the league, 186 yards a game. Passing was like 180. So I think they want Jalen Hurts to beat him. But remember, Jalen Hurts, pretty good runner as well. But I would be more concerned about Saquon. I want Jalen Hurts to sit in the pocket and try and pick me apart. If he does, so be it. Because the last time they played in the Super Bowl, Jalen Hurts balled the fuck out. He had a hell of a game and just fell short. If that happens again, it's going to be an exciting Super Bowl, but I think Kansas City will find a way to win. But I think it's going to be a close game. It's going to be a damn good game.
It's going to be a good game.
Let's start on some of these messages. Jen says, and F the Packers. Tim says, my comments are biased, obviously. P said they made a documentary on the Browns that year. They went 0-16, and they even had a parade. They loved that 0-16 so much.
Yeah.
In Northeast Cleveland that they gave them a parade after going 0-16. So do what you will with the Browns. Ron, my man, he says Fields would be good if he could end up with a team that can develop quarterbacks. Over enthusiastic Maud Caleb says, when will the two Dum Yinzers Super Bowl spot air? Well, we're still saving up to get that the $7 to $8 million spot, but we'll let you know. Ron Navy says the Swift effect. Tim says don't bet on that. Don't bet on that. The game Goodell is going to throw one and let the Eagles actually play. The Eagles are the better team. The Chiefs just have better refs. Yinzer Joe says, I grew up knowing that the green means good and the red means bad. So the mean green Eagles will win 38-30. That's right around my score too, Yinzer Joe. I have them winning by about 8. It's going to be, I think, like somewhere around there, 40-33. I think it's going to be higher than they're saying. Again, 48.5 is the over under for the game. P says, what team has developed a QB in the last decade? Peyton Manning had a terrible first year. That's very true. He sure did. Phyllis still says, yep, the Eagles, ELGSLESSE, whatever, how the hell that mayor spelled it. Ron says 100%. Kansas City already proven teams can't beat the fixed refs. This seems to be the common denominator. A lot of people are concerned about the refereeing in this football game. I know that from the board and just, in general here in life, I'm seeing a lot of people expecting that to happen. My man, John, what's up, brother? He says Peaches will make a guest appearance at the halftime show. My God,
pie,
yes.
Maybe.
Phil still says AJ Brown MVP. I would like to see an AJ Brown MVP. Ron Navy says Barkley will break a long one for a touchdown, then a holding flag will be thrown to call it back. Mark my words. I don't want to say that I
It'll be the only
disagree
holding
with you at this
call on
point.
on any offense the entire game, and it'll be when Saquon breaks
Yeah.
one for 70.
Yinzer Joe says, Mike, you seem awful quiet. Did you have a three-way you don't want to talk about? Mike, Peaches, Fanny?
Peaches
No?
was definitely involved. I'm not going to say if Fanny was there or not. I don't,
All
if
right.
if you notice Fanny walking a little gingerly with her walker, may or may not have been involved.
Hey, now. Ron says I'd predict lowest ratings in over a decade, if not
Wowzers.
more. You know what? There's some things that indicate that could happen, but we will see. P says James Winston, Marcus Mariota, Sean Mannion, Brett Huntley, Garrett Grayson, and Trevor Simeon were the QB class of 2015. Yeah, where was that development? Jeez. Phil Steele said, freaking halftime show again, rap hip hop. When are we going to see a country rock, soft rock, and opera artist again? Mark Malone, what's up, brother? He says, best start drafting QBs this year. We're going to swing and miss a couple times. P also says they want people to watch the halftime show. And Jen says, will Peach a uniform? Oh, I see. Will Peaches have a uniform malfunction? What's it called?
Wardrobe
A
malfunction.
like Janet did. I'm ready for some kind of controversial something to happen in this game. They might need something. Who knows? A lot of people are sounding like they're not as interested in this game. I think it's going to be really good from what we were saying, Mike, when Finch did step away with the two defenses that are playing in this game. In the two offenses, both of these offenses are potentially dangerous. Both of these defenses are top defenses. I think this is going to be a great football game. Again, I think it's going to be higher than people were anticipating. It's just going to be a good football game. At the end of the day, no matter what people are going to say, that the Chiefs cheated, whether they won, whether they lost. So best thing you can do is just get your wings, enjoy yourself, settle in, and it's Super Bowl 59, and just enjoy it, right, guys?
And I don't know. I've been good on deep dives of people researching all the penalties for the Chiefs and against the Chiefs. It's not the way people imagine. It's
the timing.
But
of
even
these
in
the way they
timing,
mess up the momentum of a
with
game.
the timing of the games, on game-winning drives or in key drives, it doesn't swing their way a whole hell of a lot, and it's just weird the way people think it's going for them heavily, and it doesn't. Once you start reading all these breakdowns, it's they're just a well-coached, disciplined team. And normally those teams are praised. Oh, they don't get a lot of penalties. They must be a well-coached, disciplined team. But because it's them, I was like, oh, it's rigged. It's rigged. It's for them.
I just, and the thing is, I don't want to make an argument, but I could say that I and many other people could say that it's always in these, always in the right time of the game for the Chiefs that these kind of penalties are called. And it doesn't seem to go the other way to make the Chiefs lose a lot of times, obviously. So I think that's what I think that's what the case is here. Tim said, I was hoping for the scoreboard to fall on Taylor Swift. Me too. Me too, Tim. Me too.
Poor Tay-Tay.
Over enthusiastic mod Caleb says that sound effect is banned in 13 states. Of course, the Pornhub music. P says, I mean, Jameis did get LASIK. That's right. Yinzer Joe said, I heard the Chad Ochocinco and Harrison fight is this weekend too. I didn't know it was this week. I didn't know that they were jawing at each other. And they wanted to
Roger
fight.
Murray has a response to that. He's saying it is postponed. That fight's postponed.
So I do like on this one. I do like James Harrison, but I got to say that Ochocinco, he's long, he's lanky. It's always harder to fight those tall, lanky guys. Sometimes they might not be able to fight as well, but that's just something you have to make up for. Let's see, Tim Harris. The Eagles are going to have to go to get so far ahead that no matter what the refs do, it won't matter. Roger said it is postponed, of course, what they just replied to. Ron Navy said, overall, I pray everybody is safe and there's no attacks. Absolutely. I think that would be the only thing that would really make this a terrible weekend. Oh, my God, Mike, stop with the rhetoric. You have your head in sand again. Tim says no holding in the last 3 Super Bowls. That's impossible. especially since there's tons of pics and videos of the KC linemen putting defenders in chokeholds.
You can do that for any game.
Dude, I can
Every
see-
team. Watch TJ Watt get blocked by 5 guys, all bear hugging and hold him, and the referee going,
Tim is
Play
sitting on his
on.
recliner, just frantically tapping his phone right now. His old lady's got to be like, Tim, what the fuck are you doing?
Over enthusiastic mod, Caleb says we're the same people annoyed with T Swift, also annoyed with Jessica Simpson and Tony Romo, of course. And then Yinzer Joe says Roger Ocho must have threw his mouth out and can't fight without talking. So there it is, guys. It's Super Bowl 59 Sunday, 6:30 in New Orleans. The Philadelphia Eagles come in with a 17-3 combined record at this point, taking on the Chiefs with a 17-2. Can't argue that these aren't the two best teams in the league. At the end of the day, 17 wins is hard to do no matter what. Both of these teams have done it. A total of 34-5, the record for these two teams this season. So maybe they got it right. Again, you hate to see it come down to refs. Again, you hate to see it come down to anything questionable. I hope it's a good football game because between the two defenses, between the two coaches, between the offenses that the skill players that these guys have, I think that this should be a good football game, good product they put out there. And I hope to God the referees don't do anything to jeopardize that. I think that this could be, as I said, guys, for the football game itself, it should be a hell of a football game. Again, people were just sick and tired of the Chiefs. People were sick and tired of the Chiefs and Eagles. People were sick and tired of the Chiefs, depending on what you believe, getting the call at certain times in the game. I can't say that I'm not on board. I'd like to see different teams, but for what it is, Finch, two pretty damn good football teams, two pretty good defenses, two pretty good coaching staffs, and again, two pretty good offenses that can both score it.
Yeah, it's going to be a competitive football game, and that's what you want in the Super Bowl. Nobody wants to see a blowout unless it's your team doing the blowing out. Nobody wants to see that. You want to see competitive football, and the Chiefs in these last few Super Bowls have played mostly competitive football. They went to overtime in one of them. So, that's what we look forward to. The Eagles, they're the class of the NFC, believe it or not. As good as the Lions were all season, the Eagles have proven to be the best, and I'm looking forward to a solid all-around football game.
That's what I hope for. I
want to be entertained.
Football game. Roger said, Yinzer, they have to work on the choreography, haha, because there's no way I believe Chad wants any part of Debo. Them receivers, they're head cases. I wouldn't be surprised.
They're all nuts.
Tim, I'm at the point, is it has happened in front of refs where they chose to ignore it. Jen says, Finch, is that the Tim? Is that the Tim?
That's
the
Tim.
The Tim.
Mr. Jaden
Ron says,
himself.
yeah, it's easy for you guys to voice your thoughts. We have to type. So true. And then also feel the steel. So 2024 NFL MVP thoughts. You know what? I liked it. I that was who I wanted. That's who I predicted. I said Josh Allen was going to win. And I think that all the awards pretty much went right. Obviously, you want your TJ Watt. But at the end of the day, I mean, did he really deserve it? Did he deserve it more than Tyler Hendrickson? I don't think so. And again, I don't know, Mike. What did you pull up on Patrick Surtain's?
Oh my God,
results,
we never whatever. He had 11 pass defense, or 10 pass defenses, I think. 4 interceptions.
Didn't Cam Hayward have 9?
Had 11 himself.
Yeah. Cam had more pass defenses than the defensive MVP.
Yeah. Let me pull him back up. I'm sorry. We moved past it and I forgot to keep him up there. Let's see. Where am I at? He had no, he did have 11 pass defenses. My bad. 4 picks, 1 touchdown, 1 forced fumble, 1 fumble recovery, 100-yard interception return for a touchdown, and 45 tackles. But you don't want your cornerback to do a lot of tackles. So, but no, he was Mr. Clamp Down, Lockdown in coverage this year. So I think it was a good call for him to get Defensive Player of the Year.
Tim says we have much to discuss tonight. You know what, Tim? I agree. I cannot wait. Again, the 2 cranky Jagoffs tonight at 9:30. Do check them out. One of my favorite shows on the internet. 9:30. They're usually on for about an hour and a half or so. They talk about all kind of things. They dive into different areas in the sports. And I think last week they talked about the Super Bowl shuffle. They talked. I know that Finch is going to be chomping at the bit to talk a little bit about the Jaden Daniels winning the Rookie of the Year. That's always a That's always a good conversation over on the Two Cranky Jagoffs. So do check them guys out tonight, 9:30, right here on the Dum Yinzers YouTube channel network. Everybody, guys, let me dip into some other Pittsburgh sports here before we do move on. The Pittsburgh Penguins are back in action today. They travel to Madison Square Garden to take on the Rangers. That's a 7:00 start. Mike, business operations president, decides to retire from the Pittsburgh Penguins just out unexpectedly yesterday. He ended out retiring. I don't remember. It wasn't even a name I recognized.
I'm trying to think of that title. I can't think of anyone that would be. I don't know if Todd McMillan's still there, or Dave Morehouse. Those would be like two shocking names, but I didn't even register that one.
On the hardwood, the Panthers back at it tomorrow, going for their second win against North Carolina this year in North Carolina this time. That game is at 4:00. They do play the Tar Heels tomorrow, 4:00, to try to get their fifth win against North Carolina since 2021.
They can do it. They can
also, do it. I think this is a team that's going to upset somebody in the tournament this year. I really feel that way. They're not consistently good, but they're good enough to beat somebody that's pretty good.
They're that scary team.
They are. You don't want to play them. They're not great, but you don't want to play them. Going back to the Penguins for 1 second, they're also back at it tomorrow, playing against the hated Flyers. So we do get a little bit of Philadelphia hate before the Super Bowl comes on Sunday. That game is in Philadelphia at 7:00 on Saturday. So got some Penguins, got some Pitt. Of course, the Super Bowl is the big thing on Sunday, everybody, 6:30 Sunday. Mike, why don't you go and tell everybody about the website? Now, you know what? Let's get a couple of these, one of these messages out of the way. Then we'll hit the website.
Boom.
Let's see what we got. Tim says, we have so much to discuss tonight. He also says, I was actually watching penis enlargement videos and seeing you were on. You know what? Every time I see a penis enlargement video, I never know if it's Mike's head or a penis enlargement video. I totally know what you're saying, Tim. I totally get it. And you nailed it this time. You got us. Let's see. Yinzer Joe says, Ocho been rocked like Antonio Brown and has no brains now. You can't be thinking right if you challenge a gorilla like Harrison. Old Silverback, right? Jen says, I plan to be there again. All right, thanks, Jen. Jen's going to be there tonight. Absolutely. So I think Tim's talking about Flash in the Pan about Jaden Daniels. Then also he has a Go Blackhawks, probably written reference to the Penguins. So, guys, a lot of cool things today going on over the weekend. Mike, why don't you go ahead and tell everybody about
the2dumyinzers.com. Check it out. Everyone knows what's going on over there. We got the merch for all of our links to social media, especially if you're new here. Check that out. And then after the Super Bowl, the blog is back. The much anticipated return of the blog, baby. The blog.
The BLGSES blog.
Now, you know what? I might start spelling it wrong just in case. Just
BLAWG.
Because it is Dumb Thoughts. That's the name of it. Is Dumb Thoughts.
If Philadelphia does win, that certainly has to be used a lot more the way that lady misspelled the Eagles. Guys, let's hop over to trivia. This is Super Bowl trivia. I said all week it could have to do with the Steelers. It may not have to do with the Steelers. This a little bit has to do with the Steelers, guys, but this is a tough one. So Mike and Finch, put on your thinking caps. Everybody on the board, everybody at home, play along. This is the Super Bowl trivia question of the day. Again, the last show before Super Bowl 59. Here we go. Name the 8 teams to go back-to-back in the Super Bowl. There's been 8 different teams. Now, the Steelers have done it twice, so you don't have to don't count as 2 different times. Steelers count as 1. So I need you to name the 8 teams that all went back-to-back in Super Bowl history. Guys, take a minute to think that over. We're live 5 days a week right here, Monday through Friday, 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every day right here on YouTube. I'm going to get a couple of these messages right here. All you guys are thinking. Phyllis still says, Tim, eat your Chicago-style pizza, dude. Also, Tim says Goodell will let them win to put out the fire of fixed refs. That's possible. All right, so Tim's also working on the board. He has the Cowboys. Again, fellas, name the 8 teams to go back-to-back in the Super Bowl. Now, again, the Steelers done it twice. We're only going to count them as once. If you would count their second time, it would be 9 times total. Somebody went back-to-back. So this is going to be Yeah, Tim, it's going to be by
Is it by
team.
wins?
By
By wins,
team.
though, or appearances?
Yeah,
Oh,
Super Bowl wins.
Okay.
Yeah. Name 8 teams that went back to back in the Super Bowl. Yeah, wins. All right.
Yeah.
Mike, I'm going to start with you. And you know what? It's we could kind of do it in a collective way because again, if you're
Yeah.
answering and you get 6 of them,
Yeah.
Finch could just jump in
Yeah,
and
let's
tell
do
the
it
other
like- we'll
2.
do it like
so
that.
let's talk this out, guys. So I'm looking for 8 teams that went back to back wins, of
Yeah.
course, in the Super Bowl. Mike, you do one. How about you and Finch go back and forth?
Pat
And we'll see how many we come up
Packers.
with.
Yep.
The Packers.
Packers.
Correct. Finch. All right, now you pick a
The
team.
Dolphins.
The Dolphins is correct. Mike.
Steelers.
The Steelers are correct.
49ers.
49ers are correct.
Cowboys.
Mike. Cowboys are correct.
The Broncos.
Finch. The Broncos are correct. Mike.
Patriots.
The Patriots are correct. And Finch.
Kansas City Chiefs.
And that is all of them, guys.
Nice job,
the
Mike.
Packers did it in Super Bowl.
Thank you. 'Cause I
One-
See,
forgot
I didn't
about-
cheat. I wrote mine down.
I didn't know about Miami.
And you guys did it in order. That was amazing. You guys did it in order.
I didn't know about the
Um,
Dolphins.
good-
Like the Dolphins is
Yeah,
one
the
that
perfect
threw me-
season.
Yep. Because I knew
That
they
was the
had
second
that
Super
one.
Bowl win.
Yeah, I didn't know they had one before that.
The Packers won Super Bowl 1 and 2. The Dolphins won Super Bowl
Damn.
7 and 8. The Steelers won 9 and 10
Yeah.
and 13 and 14. The 49ers won Super Bowl 23 and 24. The Dallas Cowboys won Super Bowl 27 and 28. The Denver Broncos won Super Bowl 32 and 33. New England only did it one time. Kind of amazing, actually. 38 and 39. And the Chiefs, of course, 57 and 58. So you guys nailed it. I think the fact that you guys did it in order was the most impressive part. You guys nailed it. It's Green Bay, Miami.
And plus, he
Steelers,
said he
San
didn't
Fran,
know the
Dallas,
Dolphins,
Denver.
so I guess I win.
You did?
Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
I had them
I'm
all.
gonna-
I have them written down right here.
So you get to spackle Derpy's ass crack when
Oh
this
yeah,
all goes
I
down.
can't wait to do that.
We get to spackle his ass crack.
Yeah.
Over enthusiastic mod Caleb of one of them has to be St. Louis Maroons of the Union Associated Baseball Club.
Who can forget that dynasty?
Tim says I don't even recognize the Chiefs. And then yes, never got some people were saying Minnesota, but I think it was just the way that the question was asked at first. They didn't know if it was the teams that won
Damn.
back to
Like
back or
Jen
not.
is just like
And,
anytime you mention the Packers, man, she's attacking
She
us in the
perks
comments.
up.
How many? Here's one more question, guys. Here's one more. Here's the second part of
Yeah.
the question. How many teams have 4 or more Super Bowl losses? How many and
Ooh.
who? Which teams have 4 or more Super
Well,
Bowl losses?
Minnesota.
Minnesota, Buffalo, Denver. I think that's it.
That's it. 3 teams: Minnesota, Denver, and Buffalo all have 4 losses. The Denver Broncos have 5, but of
Yeah.
course Minnesota and Buffalo both 0 and
I like
4.
Tim saying, Favre was so doped up on painkillers, we can throw an asterisk by his. I agree. My man was hopped up on pain pills during that era, and the NFL gave him a slap on the wrist. One guy smokes a joint, and they
And
run
Ron
him out
also
the league.
says, and then Ron Navy, no team other. You have a problem with Brett Favre, don't
You know
you?
me? Yeah,
Yeah.
because that time, they were busting guys for weed or this or that. Brett Favre was a dopehead. They caught him using illegal prescriptions, and the league was like, "Oh, it's okay, Brett. It's okay."
They all use drugs.
Yeah, but
too,
like
you know
he
that,
was
right?
the one they didn't punish, but anyone else, oh, you smoked weed, out the league. Oh, Brady Favre, it's okay, little man. It's okay.
I don't know. I've seen
It's
a lot of other
okay.
guys get slapped on the
It's
wrist too. I think
okay.
that this is.
Fuck Brett Favre.
Let's see. Ron says that no other teams than the Bills have lost 4 Super Bowls in a row. That's true. Never in a row. The Vikings have lost 4, but not in a row. Yes, Tim, they did top out, and yet he was touted as such a competitor. He was a great football player, no 2 ways about it. I just know Mike has a problem with him, so I like to dig at him a little bit. Guys, so you guys did very well today. Again, the part that really impressed me the most was the fact these guys did them in a row. That was the most impressive part. Again, the Packers, the Dolphins, the Steelers, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the Broncos, the Patriots, and the Chiefs have all won back-to-back Super Bowls. Guys, what are we going to do? We get Super Bowl Sunday coming up 2 days from now. Should be a national holiday, in my opinion. Finch, what's your big plans for the game? You going out your parents?
Yeah,
You doing
we
anything fun?
excuse me. We are going to my mom and dad's. My mom is cooking dinner. I think she's making a turkey. And
Hell
I am
yeah.
not going to say no to
Nice.
that. So I work during the day, but I get home around 3 o'clock, and then I'll clean up and go over there, and we'll hang out and do dinner with the family, and it'll be a nice time.
Is your dad, is he going to use the terrible towel this weekend that he wipes his
He
mouth
has it.
with?
You know what's
with
funny
during the
is I
game?
thought of you because when I was over there a couple weeks ago, I think it was for New Year's, I was there. They recently got some new furniture, and it's like got those armrests that lift up and have like an
Yeah.
area to stash stuff.
Uh-huh.
I'm just looking through it because it's new. I open it up, and sure enough, dude, there is a disgusting, terrible towel in there. I'm like, Dad, what's this? Oh, that's my towel. I haven't washed that in 10 years. It's not the original
Yes.
towel.
Well, you
It's
know
not
what?
the OG one. I asked him. I said, "Whatever happened to that old one?" He says, "Oh yeah, I washed it. It fell apart." But this one, he says he's had since the last Super Bowl, and I didn't know about it. I didn't realize it. He says, "Yeah," and I looked at it, dude, and it's not like beat up too much, but it's kind of gross. So he has a new towel. And he keeps it.
One of my
the
favorite
armrest.
stories ever. One of my favorite Super Bowl stories ever, because when Finch and I worked together in the early
Yeah.
2000s, the Steelers still hadn't won Super
Right.
Bowl 40 yet. We were still on that dry run spell since 1979. And Finch told me the story about his dad had this
Literally
terrible
since he
towel.
was a teenager,
Every
he had this towel. Since they were Super Bowl competitors back in the day, and
and he
yeah.
would wipe his mouth with this towel during the halftime of every single Steeler game, all the way up until whenever he was never going to wash it until the Steelers won a Super Bowl again. So from 1980 to 2020 to 2005, 25 years, that terrible towel went unwashed. It had
Oh, it was
the mouth
gross.
wipings of everything that he ate for 25 years. I think that's
He had
pretty
wiped
awesome.
most
At the end of
of
the
the
day,
graphic off of it. You would look at it and just think it was a disgusting yellow towel. And like it wasn't like
Yeah.
all frayed and stuff. It had a little bit of fraying on it because he swung it a lot during the games. And it was funny because sometimes he'd be eating
Right.
something and he'd wipe his face. And always had a beard. Yeah,
macaroni's
they'd be like
flying
exactly.
off of it.
Oh yeah, Jerome Bettis going to touchdown,
Right.
and a chunk of chicken would go flying across the room.
Yeah.
Like, goddamn, Dad.
You know what else is crazy, guys? 19 years. This is 19 years since Jerome Bettis retired. If that doesn't put things into perspective and make you feel a little bit aged, 19 years since Jerome Bettis has retired.
I feel old now.
Legend.
Let's see. Finch is having turkey. What about? All right, yeah. Phil, let's do it real quick before we go, guys. Anybody having anything interesting to eat for the Super Bowl? I know wings. Wings is always a big thing for the Super Bowl. Before we take off, put in on the board what you guys are going to have to eat for the Super Bowl this weekend. Guys, we'll be back. Of course, we'll be back Monday to talk all about the Super Bowl in depth, get into that, and go over everything. We'll see how close we did, how well we did on our picks, how well we did with getting the scores right with our MVPs. Also, we'll see how Derpy and Kellerhaus, they're going to go head-to-head this weekend as well. A lot of cool things. We'll be back first thing Monday to talk about. Mike, anything if we start getting ready to wrap things up for the weekend, brother?
Man, I'm just ready for the Super Bowl. I can't wait to see Patrick Mahomes lift that trophy up. I can't wait for Travis and Tay to get engaged at the 50-yard line. There's all the pageantry that's going to be involved in this Super Bowl to watch everyone freak out. No, I'm just joking. No, I just can't
It's
wait.
gonna be the worst album ever.
I know it's going to be. Her breakup album with Travis is going to push numbers. It's going to do numbers. It's going to be great. But no, I can't wait for the Super Bowl. I fucking love football. So yeah, this is like the biggest day of the year. I can't wait to watch this. I don't know what I'm making though, but I'm probably gonna make some like hot sausage or Italian sausage. Let that cook in the slow cooker all fucking day long. Probably have some pizza. Shit ton of alcohol. I plan on being obliterated. I plan on doing the show hungover the next day. So yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to is the hangover the next day.
Mike just did a whole show
I
on his.
I talked for a
weekend.
minute and a half,
Finch,
and he yells at me.
Finch, what do you got planned for the weekend, man? You're going out to your mom and dad's, taking the family, wife and
we'll all
kids,
be there,
everybody
yeah.
going out. Oh, that's cool, man. Good. I do believe that's going to be. We're starting to wrap things up, guys. Grilling steaks and burgers and chicken. That's what Phil Steele's going to do this weekend.
That sounds good.
Congratulations to Ron on your retirement, my friend. That's always an awesome thing. That's always something you look forward to. I do want to say thank you to everybody one more time for coming and hanging out, checking us out today. We appreciate each and every one of you. We truly, honestly do. We wouldn't do it without you. Thank you so much. Again, I want to thank everybody on the board. Keep things interesting here on the show, and I want to thank everybody at home as well. You guys are amazing. I do want to say make sure everybody has a safe Super Bowl weekend. At the end of the day, it's just football. Enjoy the game. It's entertainment. And then, we get back to life on Monday. But again, come back here. We'll be talking about the game. We're talking about up-to-date Steelers scoop and every other thing else that is Pittsburgh sports related and just Pittsburgh related moving on. And Mike, going into the off season, of course, we have a lot going on. We have the combine coming up here in a few weeks. We have free agency. We have the draft. So a lot of NFL, a lot of Pittsburgh Steelers stuff still to come. I can't wait, Mike. And before you know it, another 4.5 months, we'll be getting ready in camp, getting ready to go again. So we'll be sure to bring it every day all the way up to that point. Over enthusiastic Maud Caleb's is going to a friend's house and bringing 1 million Scoville chicken wings. Man, chicken wings. That sounded really good.
That's a hot fucking chicken wing there.
Man,
No thanks.
You ain't kidding. And then also, let me just make sure I didn't miss anything here. Mahomo. All right, I think we got everything, guys. But I do believe, Mike, go buff your head. That's what Yinzer Joe said. There isn't enough glare. Feela still says chirp. Also, here comes the chirp. Good.
Boom. Ron's gonna put my head in the chicken wing sauce. God damn.
But I don't know if you can see this. Look right here where it's Yinzer, right in the middle.
That's
see
glare.
Where it's a very bright area. Believe it or not, that is the glare from Mike's head. People don't realize that. See why this is so bright here? That is technically, literally, the glare off his head. So do what you want with that, everybody. Finch, Mike, anything else? Speak now or forever hold your peace.
No, Monday the glare will be epic. It's going to be off the rails.
All right, everybody. So do enjoy yourself. Eat lots of food.
9:30 tonight. Be here.
Do check out the Two Cranky Jagoffs tonight at 9:30. Absolutely. I know I'll be here. I can't wait. Check the guys out, Finch and Tim. They always have a lot of fun and interesting things to say. I know that I'm sure check them out as well.
Yes.
We thank you so much, Ron Navy. You guys are awesome.
You guys rock.
I
know I'm awesome. Right.
And as I said, this is what we wait for. There's only been 59 of them. So make sure you enjoy yourself this weekend. I know it ain't the teams that we want, but at the end of the day, it is still the Super Bowl, guys. Enjoy. Stay safe. We hope to see everybody back Monday morning for the two Dum Yinzers. Finch, Mike in the Steelers Central Mobile Studio, and myself. Everybody have a great weekend. Enjoy the Super Bowl. We'll see you Monday.
Boom.